Not gonna lie, I think that might be my favorite film from Makoto Shinkai. I really think it might be my favorite. So let's talk about it. The film overall was incredible. I think it was a spectacular film. Is this my favorite movie from Makoto Shinkai from the trilogy? I don't know yet, actually. I really don't know. I do say it's better than Weathering With You. I'll get into that in just a bit. Is it better than Your Name? I think the general audience will agree that it's not as hype as Your Name. I don't think any film will ever top Kimi No Nawa, Your Name. It's kind of hard to top, like, the film that made him, like, a lot of money. It's kind of hard to top a film that's pretty special to a lot of people, to be honest. But overall, this film, I definitely say go watch it. It is an incredible film. If you know nothing about me, then if you may or may not know, Weathering With You is one of my favorite, if not one of my favorite anime films, favorite films in general of all time. Do I prefer it over Your Name? Yeah, 100%. I prefer Weathering With You over Your Name. That's just my opinion. People don't really like that. And after watching this final movie, I don't know if it's going to be the final part of this trilogy of the Makoto Shinkai Your Name universe, but I do think Suzume no Tojimari is 100% better than Weathering With You. Is it up there with Your Name? Probably not. I don't think it ever will be. Did I personally think it was better than Your Name? I don't know yet, actually. I might have to give it a rewatch like 2 or 3 more times before I come to the conclusion of that. But I really do think it was a spectacular film. The story and everything that happened was pretty incredible. I love seeing the story of Suzume and how her journey goes from Kyushu all the way to Tokyo. What's funny about this film and every other film in this series is that Tokyo is kind of the center point for everything that happens. And Your Name, I can't remember if it took place in Tokyo or not. It's been a long time since I've seen that film. But in Your Name, there's a meteor that like passes over Tokyo, and he has to go meet this girl, Mitsuha, to save her village from the destruction of the meteorite. And then Weathering With You, he what's his face has to stop that one girl from causing the flooding of the entire Tokyo metropolitan area, and in the end he fails to do so. He ends up giving in to his feelings and letting society collapse underwater. And in this film, it's no different. However, the only difference is that she kind of goes with the latter half and decides to save everyone, sacrifice what she loves for everyone's safety. I'll get into the story details in just a bit, but I really love the similarities all these films have about love, past, and regret. All of them have something to do with confronting your past or facing your future. It's no different with this film, with Suzume and not being able to confront her past of her losing her mother, her dealing with the trauma of not having anyone, her being raised by Tamaki, her aunt. Her aunt, when she discovered her, told her, "You are my daughter from now on." And in this film, it's very much emphasized that her and her aunt kind of have like they do very much love each other, but at the same time, they kind of struggle accepting their roles that you're not my child, you're not my mother, so I don't know what to do. Do I feel like I wasted your time being your daughter? Do I feel like I wasted your time doing nothing with my own life and sacrificing everything I did to save you? That's kind of the point of the story. And as we see Suzume meeting Sota is a pretty interesting character. We really don't get too much of him as he's turned into a chair, which is pretty funny. I'll get into the story details about now, to be honest. So the story of Suzume starts off with her having a flashback to her waking up, to her crying, being lost in these empty fields, which we end up finding later in the film that it's called the Ever After. The Ever After is basically a place where all souls go to rest. No person in the living world and the mortal world should even go there. It's only where you go when you pass away into the other life. Once she wakes up from that dream, from that memory, she ends up going to school, and on her way to school, she ends up encountering this mysterious man by the name of Sota, who questions her, "Do you know where any mysterious ruins are?" And she's like, "Huh? What?" And then he ends up disappearing out of her sight, and she ends up following along because she's very curious about the man, Sota. So she ends up going to like this abandoned place, and she discovers this mysterious doorway. She doesn't know what it does, but she opens it and she sees this beautiful realm, this otherworldly place. She tries to enter it, but she cannot, and she tries and tries until she picks up this keystone. This keystone is supposed to let her go to the other side, but she doesn't really know what to do, so she unfortunately opens it, and it turns into a cat. This cat is basically the gate guardian, the gatekeeper that keeps this mysterious creature from destroying our world, from entering our own reality. It's only then till later in the film that she goes back to her school and starts to see a mysterious creature appear in the sky. She ends up trying to close the door and ends up encountering Sota. She almost ends up getting killed trying to close this door. Not too long after that, she brings Sota home, and she discovers this mysterious cat who can actually talk, and it goes by the name of Daijin. I don't really know what the name Daijin is. I tried looking it up. I can't really find too many references to it, so if you know what it means, let me know. But yeah, Sota ends up being turned into a chair, and they go on this adventure to try to close every portal that brings this creature into our reality, from trying to prevent the destruction of Japan, from trying to prevent the destruction and the death of millions and millions of people. So she goes on this journey all the way from Kyushu all the way to Tokyo to ends up to close every single gate where this monster wants to appear. And this worm, I like how every film has emphasized that there's some otherworldly, other godly entity that is trying to destroy humanity for one reason or for another, whether it be destiny or just through human miscalculation. I really love that each film focuses on some type of aspect, that nature will eventually overcome humanity, but it's humanity who must prevail in the end. And then seeing the journey of Suzume on her self journey was pretty interesting, as she met so many people along the way, such as Chika, one of the friends she ended up making, and along with his mother with her 2 kids, she ended up making a few friends. She also ends up meeting one of Sota's friend, Serejawa, which he ends up helping her along the way to go to her trip in Tokyo to save her. And Tamaki, the aunt that she has, the one that's been looking out for her, she was a pretty interesting character. She admits to Suzume that, yes, all my life I feel like I've despised you because you took away most of my life, because everything I did was for nothing if you're running away. And that ultimately hurt Suzume, and that made her cry, which was pretty interesting, because at some point in your life, if you adopt someone and they're not your child, and you feel like you're throwing your entire life away, everything you could have done, you could have been with someone, you could have had your own life, no, you had to throw it away for someone else. And she finally lets that guilt out that she's been holding in for so very long. And it was pretty sad, but at the same time, it's very understandable that it's not her child. She doesn't blame her sister for what happened, because her sister ended up being killed. And that's what we find later on in the film, that there was like either a tsunami or an earthquake that happened in Suzume's hometown, which killed everyone. And Suzume, being a little girl at the time, she was about 4 years old or so, ends up going through the ruins, asking everyone in town, have you seen my mother? Have you seen my mother? Have you seen my mother? Like, no, I have not. Unfortunately, your mother is dead. And she comes to the realization that she can't handle the fact that her mother passed away. And that's where she ends up in this otherworldly dimension, the ever life, the ever after. And what I really liked about this ending was the big twist that it was basically like a time zone, a time displacement, a paradox, a time paradox, where basically the girl who saved Suzume when she was a child was essentially herself from the future in a different outfit, which kind of blew my mind. But at the same time, you gotta think about that every film in this series involves some sort of time paradox, some sort of time shift, to be honest, especially Your Name, where it involves time travel. It's no different with this film, where essentially the past is the beginning and the future is the end. The future, it's kind of confusing when you think about it, but it's pretty simplified throughout the film, that The girl who saved Suzume was essentially herself. She was the one that gave her the chair. She was the one that ended up leading her to safety, who would tell her eventually to find Sota and set everything right. And I really love the lore of this film, how the closers essentially close every gate throughout Japan to prevent this mysterious creature, to prevent mysterious creatures from destroying our own reality. And you gotta think, is this any way connected with the other films whatsoever, since the Ever After is essentially a place where time and space essentially do not exist. They exist outside the realm of time and space. So at some point you gotta think, can you cross into these portals and go to these other worlds, these other realities? Because in the other films, in Weathering With You, it was hinted that the characters from Your Name existed in that, and in this film I can't really tell if they do exist, because in the last film we saw Tokyo essentially being underwater, but in this film Tokyo is basically back to normal. Everything was reset, so I'm assuming it's all connected through the Ever After. So it's a different plane of existence, a different plane of reality, but we won't know. I might have to watch the film a few times just to see if I can spot the other characters, see if I can spot any other Easter eggs. But I really did enjoy this film, to be honest. I really love the chemistry between Suzume and Sota, because it's not too often that you see the girl chasing the guy. It's usually the guy chasing the girl, which was pretty interesting. I really like this hot take on like doing the reversal, because in the other films it's mostly been the guy chasing the girl, and in this film it's Suzume chasing Sota, trying to save him and falling in love. This film was truly something magnificent. I really very much enjoyed it, especially the visuals. I think it was pretty phenomenal. The visuals in this film and in the series overall is always fantastic, especially the music. The music score really emphasized the emotion and everything within it. I really loved that for each centerpiece, for each action, especially what happened in Tokyo when she ends up sacrificing Sota and coming to the realization that I cannot save him, but I promise you I will save you because I do love you. I really like the action pieces, everything about it, and it's not a Makoto Shinkai film without someone falling from the sky. I swear, like, this man really loves to have people fall out of the sky and have like an epic thing. It's pretty cool. It's pretty ingenious, to be honest. But I might have to rewatch this film like a few more times, to be honest. I might have to go back in theaters just to rewatch it, because I very much enjoyed this film for what it was. I really liked it, and I've been following this film for like a long time. I really love the post-apocalyptic type of setting you could see in it, with the deconstructed buildings, everything. Ever since this film was announced back in like 2020, 2021, and how Makoto Shinkai was taking influence from the COVID-19 pandemic, I was really enthused. I was really curious, and I'm generally happy with what we got, the result of it. I think it was pretty phenomenal. Overall, this film, should you watch it? Absolutely. It is a must-watch film for any Makoto Shinkai enthusiast, for any film goer in general. I think as maybe one of the better animations throughout the entire series, to be honest. Hey, people might hate me for that, but I personally think it does. It's a really good film. It's a solid film. It's an 8 out of 10, at least for me. 8 out of 10. 100% you should go watch it this weekend. Go watch it with your significant other, or do like what I did, watch it with your friends. But my friends aren't really the biggest fans of these types of films, because they're more into like action type of anime. So for them watching this, it was kind of boring for them. They didn't really like it. They enjoyed it, but they weren't really as hyped as I was, to be honest, to go watch this film, because I was really hyped to go watch this film. You know, I really love these types of films. Look at my channel. I love this type of genre. It's pretty entertaining. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you've watched the film, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you think it's better out of the entire trilogy of films? Because for me, my mind is not set yet, but it's better than Weathering With You 100%. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on my next video. Be sure to check out my other videos. If you haven't watched Oishinoko, definitely gonna watch it. That's like a movie in itself. And I don't know what my next video is gonna be about, but yeah, I'll catch you guys on my next one. So peace.